Thank you all for making it. We have an amazing community of innovators and hopefully investors in the audience. This is what we're trying to avoid, or make sure we never regress to this.
What if everything ran on gas?
So I love that. It's a 10-year-old ad, but it's still very relevant. But like, why are we still running on gas, petrol, and diesel when there are these technologies to electrify our world and not need to depend on them so much? And while that's kind of obviously a bit of a joke about how bad it could be if we're still that way, but we still are quite polluting in our travel and transport methods, and even the way we enjoy the water and the skies. So it's all about the electric future with a group of amazing companies we're going to be sharing with you. So we're an entrepreneur-led venture holdings company advancing sustainable innovation. We believe now is the best time to be investing in clean tech to help Australia's energy transition to zero emissions. We already have a diverse portfolio of market-leading sustainable ecosystem companies that we have either founded and grown from the ground up or invested in at an early stage. We're now focused on finding, nurturing, and growing other complementary sustainable innovation companies that are solving real-world renewable energy and electric mobility problems. So to put action to words, we are making 4 commitments this month. It's Earth Month, if you didn't know, and it was Earth Day last week. So we're making these pledges and commitments and putting action to our vision and our mission. We're supporting sustainable leadership, and you could argue our whole business is about supporting sustainable leadership, but just to emphasize, we're going to do our best to mentor and support the founders and entrepreneurs of the companies we're investing in. It's not just going to be, here's money, good luck, and don't do naughty things with it. It's going to be, how can we help you? Can we surround you with advisors? Can we give you, interim CFOs and help with innovation and help with finances and help with business modeling? So it's really about nurturing their journey as founders and entrepreneurs to be successful in their own niche and expertise. And we will be quantifying that in the future and really showing our metrics year by year on our contribution to leadership. We also want to inspire the future generations, like my boys, Ethan and Ashton, who loved coming out on the way for our prototype the other day. And it's just really, it is inspiring to see how excited they get about technology, and they don't even realize that it's so new. They're just like, this is great, I'm going on Dad's boat. The fact that they're now taking for granted that this is just the future is inspiring. And if we can spread that to communities of, like, we're talking with Scotch College and others about giving back. So for instance, I worked for SciTech in my undergraduate and PhD years, and because of that, I have a relationship with them, and we will be helping them with STEM education and mentoring and helping that next generation of potential scientists and engineers get passionate about sustainability. Now, we've committed to donate up to 10 grand to Hub on Essex, which we're aiming to split 50-50 between 4Blue and Charlie's team. And we appreciate the great work Charlie's team has done from Hub on Essex to help us get ready for this, as well as the ongoing support they do with their sustainability hub. And as I mentioned, the 4Blue Gravity Accelerator has really helped Aquaflights, with growing the great work Dan's been doing running the electric hydrofoil business. Now, this one's close to my heart, and I want to explain the background that I was seeking mentorship a few years ago. I was, had my challenges that I was facing, but I actually saw that I had so much opportunity, I just didn't know what to focus on. And you could sort of imagine that happening with me. And I was trying to decide what should prioritize, what should I do, how should I go about raising capital, all sorts of things I just had questions for that no one in WA was really equipped to answer. So I reached out to who I thought were the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. And JB Straubel was actually the CTO and co-founder for 15 years with Tesla. So I reached out to him and I was following a lot of presentations he was giving. He just resigned at the time, so I was like, wow, that's surprising. Why would you resign as CTO of Tesla? So I was very curious about that. And he was nice enough to get back to me with some basic LinkedIn responses, which is polite, just wishing me the best and saying great work and all that stuff. But when I was searching the Strobel name, I came across their foundation and I thought that's amazing what they're doing, because they are billionaires. They've done so well out of the Tesla stock. So they're giving back to the community of, you guessed it, sustainable leaders by actually sponsoring people leaving university who can't afford to start their own businesses. So they actually give back to the community that way. So any sustainable entrepreneurs who want money to start a small business related to sustainability, they sponsor. And then when I looked into what Boyana was doing, she was running the foundation, and she had some amazing talks on sustainable leadership. And I really resonated with that, so I reached out to her as well. And she actually became a very good mentor for me. And we spent a lot of time chatting on LinkedIn. And this is one of her videos about the future of sustainability. It's very fitting.
The world will look completely different in 2050. That is just 30 years from now. We have the opportunity to not only witness, but to drive the creation of a new, re-engineered world. When I applied to Stanford 15 years ago, the application asked, if you could travel in time, what historic period would you choose to live in? I thought about that question long and hard. And finally I answered, this historic period, our lifetime. I said that because I felt like we live in the most exciting time in history. Achieving carbon neutrality by 2050 will require the fastest economic transition in human history. Of course, that transformation is hard, but it's also necessary, and it's achievable, and it's exciting. The economic opportunity, trillions of dollars. History is defined by societal transformations like the one that is about to happen. It will happen as a combination of government policies, social movements, new technology and science, and market forces such as consumer demand. In order to hit our goal of being carbon neutral by 2050, we need this transition to happen at an exponential rate. This will require leadership. So let's do this.
So I've really appreciated her mentorship over the past, but the sad part of the story is less than 2 years ago, she passed away from a fatal accident. SUV accidentally ran her off the road and she died on the spot. So I'm sorry to share that part of it, but it's important to carry on people's legacy who have done such impactful things. And she was my age, so 38 years and 2 kids to lose her life is so sad. And she's done so much already, but I feel she can continue doing a lot. Her foundation can live on through people investing in it like us, so donating to it. So I appreciate that. And sorry to be a little somber on that, but the upside and the excitement of what we're doing here is why invest in Electro Ventures. So we're entrepreneur-led, as mentioned, and we're really innovation leaders in our own right. Myself and my team have all been there, done that, and Bronson and I'll talk about have grown these companies organically, so we know the school of hard knocks of what it takes to do it. We also know what to avoid. There's a lot of hype out there, a lot of over-promising and under-delivering, so we kind of know how to pick the winners, or at least the ones that have a good chance, and avoid some of the noise and hydrogen fun. So with the just had to throw that in there. So look, value-added gains. So because we are actually contributing and actually adding value to these companies, we're finding we're getting great deals in the investment in them because they're seeing the benefit of having a strategic investor, not just a financial investor. So in that regard, we're really getting that extra capital gain boost in helping them, both from our initial contributions to, say, founding and establishing and incorporating as early as incubating companies, through the growth stage, through the commercialization phase, because of Bronson and others' experience of actually getting to a well-oiled machine, as I'll talk about later, because there are many different stages in growing these companies, and no one person can do it on their own, so you need to be surrounded by a community of people who can help you. Tax benefits. So if you do invest in us this side of the financial year, you get a 20% tax offset. Again, if it's up to 50 grand, you get that's limited for retail, minimum $500,000 for the sophisticated investors. But effectively, That's a tax offset you get this financial year, and then 0 capital gains between 1 and 10 years holding it. So we don't think you'd at least hold it for 1 year, but we also want to keep you on this journey as we aim to be a multi-billion-dollar company in the future as we grow our portfolio. So the diversity is important too, and I'll just get straight into that. But really it's about having air, land and sea mobility, as I'll talk about, but also B2B tech companies, B2C front-end, consumer-driven companies, and even platforms, software platforms that really tie the ecosystem together. So you'll see it's quite, it's a growing portfolio because I do feel we're probably at our focus capacity right now with the 3 more that I'm announcing today. So you probably know about the 9 that have already been publicly up on the website and in videos. But just to reiterate, the 3 that I've co-founded are all about technology and really where is the most disruptive tech that can help those forms of mobility accelerate. And we'll talk about each of them. Fly&E and Aquaflights are also talking today, so I don't need to go into more detail. Acotech Trike is a new opportunity. We've had the exclusive rights to commercialize in Asia Pacific. Won't go into detail now, but definitely talk to me later about it. It's a growing opportunity in the high-speed enclosed micromobility. Apex Drones is here with the drones on display, so go chat to Sam and Winston about their great drone spraying services that they offer. They're already spraying for mosquitoes and doing amazing work for the community and reducing carbon emissions through electric operations. So it still ties in with the sustainability aspect. Little ferry company, I think Kevin's here somewhere. Kevin's done a great job with the solar ferries on the Swan River, and we're partnering with him to bring these high-speed Candela hydrofoil watercraft to the Swan River as well. And per Solar Force, so Bronson, I'll talk about later, but effectively the ones that are really exciting to announce to you today are 3 partners we're investing in. These still not dry, so somewhat presenting this in good faith, but we do have a really good working relationship so far. Even if we didn't invest in them, we'd happily promote them. But hopefully all goes well with the due diligence and we can really help them in their journey of growth. So Cameron's here and he's brought some of his classic EV conversions, so go see some of his components. And Eddie's here as well, so talk to those guys about the great EV conversions they do. If you want to convert an electric car, talk to them, pay them some money, of course, and then get them on your journey of decarbonising your existing vehicle. They also have 2 electric vehicles on display out the front, probably illegally parked. So as soon as it's finished, go and have a look and hope they don't have a ticket. And definitely spread the word that they are a WA-based company punching well above their weight, and they really could put EV conversions of classic and commercial vehicles on the map. Gillian's also here. So Gillian is the founder of Tillerites, and they make the roadster e-bikes you see behind the Wayflower. And he's done a great job over the years, really been customer focused on buying e-bikes and sold a lot of e-bikes and done well there. But really the modern industry needs a bit of a pivot to the shared economy. So we're helping him and advising him on pivoting to the shared economy and hoping to help him really realise the potential of those well-engineered industrialised bikes that people can then appreciate on an as-need basis. We've also got Alistair and Florian back here with Mojo. So they've done a great job with a car share platform, and it's different to EV, double E, if you're familiar with that one. That's for peer-to-peer sharing. This one's more community sharing. This is about placing electric vehicles on a subscription at a place where there's poor parking and too many people, driving petrol cars with 1 people in it, right? 1 person in it. So by having that shared mobility on our hourly basis, they can make it a lot more affordable for people to access these electric vehicles at a workplace or a community, and obviously reduce pollution, because now you've got 10 or more people sharing 1 EV rather than 10 people driving their petrol cars to work every day. Solar Force. So Bronson and Jason are in here somewhere. And Aaron couldn't make it, but the 3 of them have done just such an amazing job growing this company organically over the last 7 years. So I've always had a lot of respect for them. We've been commercially working together for over 2 years, and they helped spell out Electro in solar panels on our hangar at Janica. So that was a lot of fun. But since then, I've been talking more about partnership, and particularly the Electro base you'll hear about from Sylvia is an excellent solution to the problem of commercial solar. So I won't go into more detail, I'll steal Sylvia's thunder. But credit to Bronson and his team for growing that to 80 staff, organically grown, didn't have to raise a single dollar outside their own risk capital of reinvesting everything they made. And they have turning over tens of millions of dollars a year, 70 plus residential systems per week, if you can imagine the throughput of solar they're doing. They're by far the largest by an order of magnitude in WA, and they're in the top 5 of all of Australia in capacity installation per year. So credit to Bronson and his team. So when you sum up all of these micro success stories, they become a macro success. And the beauty of what I'm doing and what we're doing as a community is we're actually able to raise much larger amounts of money in the fund to support a group of companies rather than any one of them could do necessarily on their own.
So as I mentioned, Bronson was the co-founder of Solarforce, and over those School of Hard Knocks over the last 6-7 years, he's learned what does and doesn't work with growing a team. So S-curve adoption, I want to talk to you about this because people don't realize that when things are changing, they think they're going to keep changing linearly, but actually it's an exponential. Well, as soon as you've jumped over the early adopters and the valley of death, and you're actually going to the early majority, that's when the sudden S-curve adoption kicks in, and it can be unfathomably fast. Have a guess how long it took to go from steam-powered elevators to electric elevators.
You got it, 1 year. So from the invention of the electric elevator, the first commissioning of an electric elevator, almost all, I'm saying the majority of steam-powered, because who would want to get in a steam-powered elevator? You can imagine that, right? Like, we're going to get in, we're about to start the boiler, and there's it's an awful experience. Once it's electrified, suddenly you've got this confidence in it. It's smooth, it's quiet. You can even automate it in the future, right? And even the idea of ironically, the idea of automated elevators took much longer to take on. So for a long time, you had people, bellhops, controlling elevators because they feared the autonomy of elevators more than they feared the electric power of elevators. So that's an interesting insight into where we're focused in electrification. So I tell the EV adoption as a bit of a horse race. So there was the Roadster, it was a bit of an iconic car, the Mitsubishi i-MiEV and the Leaf, early days, and a decade ago, and there was a bunch more options and tons, and then raise your hand if you want a Cybertruck. Come on, don't be shy. So there's these amazing new cars coming out that are just going to sweep the floor of legacy automotive, and Tesla's obviously set the benchmark. And even if you don't want a Cybertruck, there's an EV for you out there, right? Like there's almost every form of ground wheel mobility being mass-produced, at least in the foreseeable future. So we don't need to focus on making cars, but we do need to focus on everything else that supplements that. So Richard's not able to make it because he's in Dublin at the moment, in Germany last week, but I'll present what the great work he's doing as CEO of Electro.Aero, and I'm still the CTO there. And I have an amazing team, some of them here with us, Marcus Alshan, doing great engineering work for us, and Catherine, our mother of coin. Over 70% market adoption of our charging standards. So we actually wrote the electric aircraft charging standard for SAE over the last 4 years. It's been a labour of love or hate, but it's been frustrating, but worth the effort. Because by writing the standard, we are literally writing the rules for our market. And by doing that, we've had amazing export success. Because obviously, there's a lot more money flooding into electric aviation in the US than there is here, literally billions of dollars. Our top 3 customers have raised over $2 billion together. So it's just a ridiculous amount of money. And we have over 80% of our revenue from the US, 19% or so from Europe, and a few here that Corin's working on, and we're doing a great job with starting to roll out charging networks. But that US funding effectively is 75% profitable. That's the insane thing about our market share. We have a roughly 70% market share, and it's 75% profitable at this early stage. So it's insane margins to maximize our potential of the aviation charging industry, and we're just keeping at it, but it's a long game. It doesn't happen overnight. We have lots of big contracts, tens of millions of dollars of charges in our order book, but over like 2 to 5 years. So it's something we're nurturing, but we feel it's a confidently over $1 billion market for aviation charging infrastructure by 2030. We just have to stay the majority, or at least maybe early duopoly with one other player, and we'll dominate this industry. If you look at aviation traditionally, there's always a monopoly or duopoly. If you're Boeing, Airbus, and Continental, Lycoming. Once you've broken through that moat of being a lead supplier, it's not likely to be knocked off.
Electric aviation is already here, but most airports lack the electrical infrastructure to enable rapid aircraft charging. Electric aircraft currently being flown and planned for entry into service from 2023 will require a peak charging load of up to 1 megawatt. Most airports at the moment do not have enough power to charge even one aircraft at that level. At Electro.Aero, we've solved this problem with a solution that's scalable, affordable and available now. From our home base at Jandakot Airport in Western Australia, we're already charging and flying electric aircraft from 100% renewable energy. Smart Hangar combines solar panels on your hangar rooftop with a smart inverter connected to the grid, charging the smart battery energy storage system, and all managed by our cloud-connected Electro management system. Smart Hanger charges the smart battery on a schedule combining solar and grid as needed to ensure you have all the power you need for rapid aircraft charging when you need it. Smart Hanger has the additional benefit of enabling you to be grid independent. It provides instantaneous backup power in the event of a grid failure, meaning you can avoid the need to purchase noisy and expensive generators. Each Smart Hanger system needs to be sized for your specific needs. Please talk to us about preparing a feasibility study where we will provide you options for immediate and scalable Smart Hanger solutions. With most jurisdictions offering tax incentives on renewable energy installations, Smart Hanger can be very affordable and in most cases will provide an immediate positive financial return compared to pure grid power. Electric aviation is already here. Let us help you prepare for it.